Welcome to Martial Mastery Media. Before watching, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, and like this video to support our content. Share this video with friends, family, and fellow martial artists who are passionate about the history, philosophy, and spiritual roots of combat. Explore our catalog of videos on martial arts legends, lost techniques, and historical fighting systems. Be sure to check out our sister channels, Galactic Secrets, covering mysteries of the universe, alien history, and space exploration, and Myths Through Time, uncovering ancient myths, legends, and forgotten stories. Thank you for being part of our community and helping us preserve the legacy of warriors and their spiritual combat traditions. 1. Origins of Shastar Vidya. The ancient science of weapons, Shastar. Vidya is one of the most ancient martial sciences from South Asia, with roots stretching back thousands of years into the broader traditions of Indian warfare. The name itself speaks volumes. Shastar means weapons, and Vidya means knowledge or science. Unlike many combat systems that focus only on techniques, Shastar Vidya was envisioned as a complete path, combining physical skill, mental discipline, spiritual awareness, and ethical responsibility. Its origins can be traced to early Indian warrior traditions, such as the Rajputs and Kshatriya orders, who practiced weapon-based combat not only as a skill of survival, but as a sacred duty tied to dharma, or righteous living. When Sikhism emerged in the 15th century under Guru Nanak, Shastar Vidya absorbed and transformed these older practices, giving birth to a martial discipline that was both deeply spiritual and profoundly practical. What set it apart was the way it fused combat science with a moral and spiritual framework, preparing warriors not only for battle, but for a life of service, humility, and justice. 2. The rise of the Sikh warrior tradition. The Sikh gurus profoundly reshaped martial traditions during a time of immense turmoil in India. Guru Hargobind, the sixth Sikh guru, was the first to emphasize the blending of spiritual devotion with martial responsibility. He carried two swords, Miri, representing temporal worldly power, and Piri, representing spiritual authority. This duality symbolized the Sikh belief that defending justice was just as sacred as meditation and prayer. A century later, Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th guru, elevated this martial spirit to its highest form. In 1699, he founded the Khalsa, a warrior saint brotherhood committed to living fearlessly, protecting the innocent, and fighting oppression. The Khalsa were trained in Shastar Vidya, transforming ordinary men into saint soldiers who embodied both spiritual devotion and martial excellence. Their legacy is legendary. Small bands of Sikh warriors stood against mighty Mughal and Afghan armies, proving that inner conviction and martial training could overcome overwhelming odds. 3. Weapons of Shastar Vidya. The sacred arsenal. One of the defining features of Shastar Vidya is its vast arsenal of weapons, each revered as both a tool of combat and a symbol of divine justice. Among the most iconic are Kirpan, a curved dagger carried by baptized Sikhs, symbolizing the eternal duty to defend truth and protect the weak. Talwar, the curved saber of Indian warriors, prized for its speed, fluid cuts, and versatility in mounted and foot combat. Khanda, a heavy double-edged sword that became the emblem of Sikhism itself, representing both destruction of tyranny and defense of truth. Katar, punch dagger, a short armor-piercing weapon used for powerful thrusts in close quarters. Chakram, throwing quoit. Razor-sharp steel rings carried on turbans or belts, hurled with deadly accuracy at enemies. Spears, bows, and lances, essential for cavalry warfare, allowing Sikh warriors to remain agile and effective across the battlefield. Unlike in many martial traditions, weapons in Shastar Vidya were treated as sacred. They were polished daily, blessed during ceremonies, and viewed as physical embodiments of divine energy. Training with them was not merely a skill, it was an act of worship. 4. Combat philosophy. The saint soldier ethos. The heart of Shastar Vidya lies not only in the weapons but in the philosophy behind their use. Sikh warriors followed the path of the Sant Sipahi, or saint soldier. This ideal demanded a balance of humility and courage. Warriors were expected to fight fiercely when justice demanded it, yet never out of hatred, pride, or aggression. Core values included compassion and duty. Warriors were to protect the weak, never oppress. Discipline of ego training was as much about conquering one's inner pride as about defeating enemies. Spiritual integration. Every martial movement was accompanied by prayer, scripture, recitation, or meditation. In Sikh scripture, even weapons are praised as divine instruments. Guru Gobind Singh referred to God as Sarblo, all steel, symbolizing the indestructible righteous force embodied in the sword. This unique worldview transformed combat into a spiritual practice, ensuring warriors fought not for personal glory but for justice and truth. 5. Techniques and training methods. Shastar Vidya is a complete battlefield system designed to prepare practitioners for every possible scenario. Training covered mounted and unmounted combat, armed and unarmed techniques, and both individual duels and group warfare. Key methods included sword and shield play, mastery of timing, circular movements, and deflections. Dual sword combat, fighting with two blades, requiring immense coordination. Pole arms and spears used to extend range and dominate cavalry engagements. Chakram throwing precision-based, ranged attacks with devastating results. Wrestling and grappling, kushti, vital for close combat when disarmed. Training was conducted in akhara, martial arenas where warriors drilled forms, sparred, and conditioned their bodies. Sessions began with prayer, highlighting that training was both spiritual devotion and physical discipline. 6. Spiritual roots. The sword as divine power. The sword in Sikh tradition was not just a blade, it was seen as the very hand of divine justice. Warriors often began their practice with prayers, asking for strength, humility, and divine guidance. Guru Gobind Singh composed verses praising the sword as a liberator of the oppressed and a destroyer of tyranny. Every battle cry echoed this devotion, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The Khalsa belongs to God, victory belongs to God. This reminded warriors that their victories were never personal. They belonged to a higher power, reinforcing that combat was an act of service, not domination. 7. Decline and suppression. Under colonial rule by the 18th and early 19th centuries, Sikh warriors had become legendary. Under Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Sikh Empire thrived, with armies trained in both Shastar Vidya and modern warfare. However, after the British conquest of Punjab in 1849, Shastar Vidya faced brutal suppression. The British, fearing uprisings, banned traditional martial practices, outlawed the carrying of many weapons, and dismantled Sikh military institutions. Although Sikhs were recruited into the British Indian Army, they were trained in European drill systems rather than their native arts. As firearms began to dominate the battlefield, the sword and spear gradually lost their practical role, and Shastar Vidya nearly disappeared into obscurity. 8. Revival of Shastar Vidya in modern times. In the 20th and 21st centuries, dedicated masters and cultural historians began reviving Shastar Vidya. Organizations in India, the UK, Canada, and the United States have worked tirelessly to reconstruct the techniques, weapons training, and spiritual practices of the art. Today, Kama Shastar Vidya is taught not only as a martial discipline, but as a way of reconnecting with Sikh heritage and identity. Demonstrations at festivals, training in akharas, and workshops worldwide ensure that the legacy is kept alive. Modern practitioners see it as a bridge between history, culture, and spirituality, a way to honor their ancestors while cultivating discipline and inner strength. 9. Legacy of Shastar Vidya. Lessons for today. Even in the modern world, the lessons of Shastar Vidya are timeless. They teach us that martial arts are not only about combat but about responsibility. True strength is measured by humility, compassion, and discipline. A warrior's role is to defend the weak, not to dominate others. For martial artists today, Shastar Vidya offers a profound reminder that combat training can go beyond physical technique. It can be a tool for cultivating character, serving society, and connecting with something greater than ourselves. 10. Conclusion. The eternal sword of spirit. Shastar Vidya is more than just a martial art. It is the living embodiment of the Sikh warrior's soul. It blends sword and scripture, discipline and devotion, steel and spirit. While colonial oppression and modern warfare nearly erased it, the revival of Shastar Vidya today stands as a testament to resilience, cultural pride, and spiritual strength. For those who walk this path, every strike is not just a martial technique. It is a reminder of justice, humility, and service. Shastar Vidya reminds us that the greatest battle is not against another person, but against ignorance, injustice, and the weaknesses within ourselves. Call to action! If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and philosophy of Shastar Vidya, subscribe to Martial Mastery Media and hit the notification bell so you never miss our future uploads. Like this video and share it with your friends, family, and fellow martial artists who are passionate about the true roots of warrior traditions. Explore our other videos covering martial arts legends, forgotten fighting systems, and the spiritual philosophies behind combat. Also, don't forget to check out our sister channels, Galactic Secrets for Mysteries of the Universe and Myths Through Time for Ancient Myths and Legends. Thank you for being part of the Martial Mastery Media community. Together, we honor the warrior spirit and ensure their legacy continues to inspire future generations.